Hi, everyone. Alicia, what's up? Can you hear me?
Can hear you. I just need to unmute myself. Hey, girly, how are you?
Hi, you look so beautiful on this
Oh,
Monday morning for you, right? It's still morning for you to
it
our
is
friends
still,
in
well, it's 11.
Dallas.
It's not that bad.
Not too bad. Late morning. You're looking so glamorous and beautiful. Hey,
Yes.
everyone. I think we still have people coming in, of course. So I was just having a little uh, chat with Alicia. I was about to compliment her hair. She looks so pretty. Looking
Oh
so
my
good.
goodness, thank you. I went
Oh,
dark again. I was blonde. Remember how blonde I was?
I love it. I
It's
love it.
lots
Well, we
darker.
are going to let people continue to come in. Usually we have a couple of minutes before everyone comes in as we spend this time that we usually do it during lunchtime. So people are getting their sandwiches or whatever it is, or what we call this working lunch um, on our Gap series, where every Monday we come together and we focus on things that are obviously going to help your business grow. Gap means growth, action, and productivity. So we're super excited to have a very special guest today. Um, it was something that I just kind of through just random conversations. Gabby and I had connected via workplace because she supports so many of the teams throughout EXP, and it just was just a perfect match to say, like, what do you guys go through? What do you see? What are the common things? And oh my gosh, we would love to have you on Gap to help teams be more successful. And of course, the aspiring team leaders. We know how we have a lot of people here who are aspiring team leaders, and your next level is to become a team leader. And then, of course, what kind of team leader is it going to be? I mean, are you going to run? And there's no right or wrong way. We're here to help you every step of the way understand what it is to support a team. So I just thought it was super fitting for Gabby to come on. But before we kick it off, we are going to just do a couple announcements. I want to remind everyone that if you are planning on attending Build at Sea 24, tickets are very, very limited. As of yesterday, only 15 more cabins available. That is not, guys, it's not fluff, it's not bluffing, it is real. And I actually love that I got messages last night. Hey, do I still have time? Hey, still have time to purchase? The answer is yes. And I think they also rolled out, guys, this is a game changer. They rolled out a payment plan for 24 months, if I'm not mistaken, meaning money's an issue or just paying it all up front. They have kind of like a firm payment plan option. I'm just using a firm as an example, but you could still go and pay later. You obviously there's some steps that you have to commit to, but super excited to know that you have that option. But it's very limited. 15 more rooms as of last night. Don't sleep on it if you're planning on going. So other than that, then after Gabby presents, Alicia is going to open it up for the Q&A, and we're going to talk a little bit all things teams, if I'm not mistaken. But Alicia, anything that you want to add?
No, I'm super excited. This is so necessary. I know that that's where I am lost. And then I'm excited just to get the chance to talk to Gabby and go, okay, give me all the stuff I need. I'm super, I'm always lost when it comes to onboarding. So I cannot imagine a better topic. This is really needed. So Gabby, I'm so excited to have you. Be prepared. I probably have the most questions out of anybody.
That's fine. That's fine. That's what I'm here for.
All
I love
right.
it. So today's topic is strategy and support, how to utilize team services. Of course, Gabrielle, I want to make sure I don't mess up your last name. I'm gonna spell it out. I'm gonna speak it out and let me know if I said it the wrong way. Is it Confessore?
Yes, Confessore.
Okay. Team Service Manager of EXP Onboarding Operations. And we're going to do a deep dive today in the world of support and team services. Inside scoop on a comprehensive overview of team services, the roles and invaluable services that they provide to agents, the roadmap to success, how team services supports onboarding brokerages, teams, transitioning structures, agents forming new teams, and ongoing team maintenance. And what I love, a little bonus, is the secret weapon. Discover how team services is your partner in every stage of your EXP journey. So Gabby, we are super excited to have you. We are going to give you the floor and let you do what you do. And thank you for contributing to our humble community that's always eager to learn. Everyone here is committed to their business. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you so much. Well, I want to start off by saying hi, Global Alliance. I appreciate you guys having me. Veronica, as she mentioned, we chatted, and Alicia, I know from her team. So I appreciate you guys all having me here. I hope I can add some value and really just put some puzzle pieces together for you. Have any questions on team services. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll dive a little bit deeper and go ahead and jump into it.
And I don't know if on your end it's we sound okay, but we're getting a little bit of a little choppiness. I don't know if it's the ear pods or if it's just the connection, but just wanted to let you know it definitely is breaking up, but I could be wrong.
All right, let me change them out real quick.
And I think I saw Evelyn kind of nod her head that was the case. So she's always my checkpoint. Hi, Evelyn.
Hi, Veronica. Anytime, anything you need, I'm here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's the spirit of the
Good to see
Global
you.
Alliance here. So, all right,
It
Gabby.
is, yes.
Let's try this again.
All right, does this sound better, you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the good old manual headset never hurts anybody. All righty, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Let me know when you guys can see everything.
Looks good.
Perfect. All right, so you should see strategy and support, how to utilize team services on your screen. Again, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm going to go ahead and jump into our agenda today. So in our agenda topics, we're going to be covering is a little bit about team services, the adjustments that we had at the beginning of this quarter, how to effectively utilize us as team leaders, agents of teams, our upcoming projects that we're so excited about to create a better experience for you as team leaders and agents on teams, how to stay connected with us in team services, and then we'll open it up for a Q&A to go a little bit further into any questions that we didn't touch on. All right, so a little bit about team services. At the beginning of this year, Q1, we merged departments with integration. So we were two separate departments within onboarding operations, integrations, and team services. We merged departments, and in doing that, we now have all of our roles under the umbrella of team services. So every single analyst in team services provides a dedicated and detail-oriented process for your journey, whether it be onboarding. If you're an active team, we help you strategize as the team leader from your initial integration and support you through your entire journey and growth, your overall team maintenance. So every single transition is different. We provide a personalized experience for what the team leader is looking for and just overall support for them in their transition. As we know, brokerage owners or team leaders transitioning, it can be a very big adjustment, moving brokerages or shutting down your brokerage. It could be a very emotional time period. And with that, our team is well equipped with the tools to provide support for those individuals. All right, so this is our department organization. We fall under our Chief Operating Officer, Patrick O'Neill, who is under our new CEO, Leo Pareja. So under Patrick O'Neill, we have our onboarding operations vice president, Krista Pacheco, who we fall under our team services director, Nicole Alderson. So you see my name at the bottom right, Gabrielle and Zoe. So we cover the entire US for all teams, and we're broken up by East and West, and we support all teams of all team structures, all in realty. Okay, so since we restructured, as I mentioned, we merged departments with integrations. We are now team services as a whole. And when we've restructured, we named new roles to better support the agents and provide a better agent experience. With that, the 3 new roles that we have is a team services strategy analyst, a team services analyst, and support analyst. The team services strategy analyst is the individual that really works hand in hand with growth. They provide that white glove service, and they're the key point of contact during any brokerage or team onboarding EXP. They also work hand in hand with a sponsor. So if you are a person that is focused on attraction or anything like that, depending on the state you're in, you do have a dedicated team services strategy analyst that gets assigned all teams or brokerages coming over, and they work hand in hand with growth as well as the sponsor if they are involved. The team services analyst is any active agents looking to form teams, any active teams that are already existing, if they ever want to move structures. As we know, sometimes there is a business change that some teams might undergo, or team leaders, they might have a shift in their business. That team services analyst, once the team is already existing with EXP, they're there for support and really try to understand and pivot with the team leader when they are trying to make those adjustments. And then the team services support analyst is the behind the scenes maintenance. They're the ones who are reaching out to you as the team leader for team documentation, sending out those documents, updating the agents' pay plans, managing their sky slopes, their enterprise profiles. So as a whole, that is what we cover, all teams, and we maintain them through the entire life expectancy of the team, from the time that you form it to any adjustments that you have on your team structure. Okay. All right, so a lot of questions we get is the onboarding process. What does that look like? I'm confused on the onboarding process. How do we streamline that and create a better experience for the agents coming in, whether it be a team or brokerage? So if you are a sponsor or you are assisting with attracting a team or brokerage, this is our pre-onboarding that we lay out for all teams and brokerages. We work collaboratively with our growth department. Amy Weaver, her team, that she recently got promoted to the senior vice president of growth over realty. So we assist all of her VPs and any regional directors in growth with this process. So we have a growth support principal, and they essentially will have you guys reach out as the sponsor and set up a discovery call to go through that process if you're bringing over a prospect, to really help close that and bring them over. Where team services gets involved is at any point in time when the prospect is involved, we are the ones who are helping and making sure that we coordinate and be a main point of contact for that prospect. We like to call ourselves air traffic controllers, really trying to fly in that plane and land smoothly. So we obviously, when you on board, we're a cloud-based brokerage, so there's a lot of emails, and creating a centralized place for that person to go to really gives them peace of mind during their transition. Okay, and I'll provide these slides to Veronica, and you can disperse them as needed, but there's a lot of clickable links here and resources for you guys to later take a look at. All right, so tips and best practices for pre-onboarding. If you're a sponsor and you're assisting with a brokerage or team coming over, collaboration with growth and team services is essential as soon as possible if you have a team or brokerage interested in EXP. And the reason we say that is we do have a workflow in place, and it's not, and we want to support you as the sponsor in bringing that individual over and really create a smooth transition for them. We already have a process in place. There's no need to worry about putting all the pieces together. We have that already outlined, and we can really support that individual in their transition over. So the other tip is to prepare any documentation needed prior to your transition date. So this is for the prospect. So if you're bringing over a brokerage owner or a team, as the sponsor, one of the things that is super essential is making sure that we set up a realistic timeline for that brokerage or team to come over. And the reason being is there's a lot of moving pieces at the state level, depending on what state they're licensed in, making sure that they're transferring over smoothly. If they have any active listings or anything like that, we want to make sure we prepare them with the proper documentation in order to transition smoothly. And then once the team leader or brokerage owner announces their transition to EXP, we want to make sure, and it's super important that we touch on, it is super imperative for the team leader or brokerage owner to focus on their agents during this time and not worry about the paperwork or documentation that should have been handled pre-onboarding. That way we can have them focus on the agents because this will overall impact their attrition rate. And we want to make sure that they support those agents in this transition as they digest that information of moving to the EXP platform. All right, so this is, now that we've moved past pre-onboarding, now we're talking about the actual onboarding piece of a team or brokerage. So we have the agents, as you know, completing the joint applications. These are the steps of the onboarding process. We do have a checklist laid out. We have videos to walk agents through the joint application as well. And we have a step-by-step guide once the agent does become active of a checklist on how to set up their tools. As we know, we're cloud-based, as I mentioned before. So with that comes some emails that they have to navigate. And we want to make sure that when they're navigating through those emails, that they set up the proper items in order for them to be successful in their transition. So this process that we have laid out and the tools that we have in place to really streamline that process during the onboarding experience will help the agent get plugged in as soon as possible as they're navigating their first initial onboarding steps. All right, tips and best practices during the onboarding process. I have a couple links here for you guys. The onboarding process link over there is going over the steps during the onboarding process to help prepare the agents. We also have information here for the growth and attraction piece of the revenue share placeholder addendum. It was previously known as a letter of intent. So if you are attracting an individual, a brokerage owner that might not yet be ready to transition their license, they can get their application in. They can apply for a revenue share placeholder addendum, which allows them to sit in the joint application with the revenue share placeholder addendum, and they can start attracting to EXP if need be, but they do not yet have to transfer their license. So this is key during the onboarding process to know. And then we also have a couple of helpful resources in the growth and attraction section as well that I've linked for you guys. The team services strategy analyst, they also during this time period will review the steps necessary depending on the state that that team or brokerage is onboarding in of the onboarding requirements. Each state has different requirements. So in Florida, for example, where I'm located, they have to submit their joint application at a state level. They have to confirm that they have their license and then that they're ready to transition their license. And then at the Department of Professional Business Regulation, they do have to confirm and transition the license on the back end in order for that agent to become active. So our strategy analyst will set expectations as to what the onboarding process will look like at a state level, because sometimes Florida versus like New York, for example, the state broker team has to have a conversation with the agent prior to even being able to transition their license. So there's certain steps in place for each state. So our team will prepare them for that. And then have the team members in the joint application list that they're joining a team. So this is super imperative for us on the back end. Within the joint application, there's an experience tab when they're filling it out that says, are you an individual agent or a team agent? And the reason why this is important is if they don't select team, it looks as though that they're not joining a team and they're just an individual. So we just want to make sure that if they are joining a team, they select the right information so that we can properly get the right documentation out to them when they're onboarded. And then last but not least, we have a checklist for newly activated agents. This is one of my favorite things for agents once they've onboarded. It really shows them step by step and how long on average it will take to set up a certain system. So as we know, we have a ton of tools at EXP and resources, and that walks them through how to set up their tools and their systems step by step. And it breaks it down by day as well if you have part-time agents or individuals that don't necessarily have time to sit down and do it all in one go.
Gabby, can you click on that link just so we can kind of visualize what it would look like, just for anyone who
Yeah.
hasn't seen?
Can you see the screen? Did it change over?
Yes, ma'am. Just so that we
Perfect.
kind of knew what to expect. I think that's a
Yeah.
really cool feature. I'm a
So
visual person, so it's nice to know. I'm sure everyone else here would want to see it.
100%. 100%. So this is the checklist. So when an agent becomes active with EXP, they've transferred their license and we've activated them on the back end in Enterprise, they'll get their passport information. Once they get their passport information, it breaks it up by up to 8 days of all the tools and systems that they can set up. And it tells you on average how long it will take. So it's super streamlined and it creates a better understanding and experience for the agent as to what they should focus on. Because we do have so many tools, it can become overwhelming for that individual. But if we break it down simplistically of what they should focus on per day, what is priority in order for them to start their business, that's where this checklist kind of comes in.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yes, we will get this deck out to everyone, guys. We will either post it in our Global Alliance Facebook page and or just DM me, and then we'll make sure you get it. Regardless, we'll push it out.
Awesome. Any other questions before I move forward about the checklist or just the onboarding process in general?
No, I think this is great
Awesome.
for now.
All right. I
Hello.
moved
Yes.
back to the
Yes. Hi, I'm Angelica. I
Hi.
have a question. Hi.
Yeah.
And like say I have an agent who joined it, but I think I'm creating my team probably in the next couple months. He still be able to join later as part of my team. How that will work?
Yes, he will. I will be going through the maintenance portion of how you, once your team is formed, how to add and remove people from your team. So that'll be coming in the later slides. But yes, 100% when the agent is active, they can join your team as well once your team has been formed.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Gabby, I have
Thank
a
you so
quick
much.
question. I have a quick
Yes.
question as well. So if you have brought agents on and you feel like maybe they haven't done this, is there a way for me to get them in here or forward this to them to go through this best practices of signing up, even if they're not
Yes.
newly activated agents?
Yes, 100%. So this document right here, the checklist for newly activated agents, it should have just switched to again. This is on our US Agent Center. So this is agent facing, it's public facing as well. So once the whether they're newly activated or they're an active agent, they can definitely take a look at this at any point in time and make sure that they're set up on the tools that they need. Because like you said, you know, they might not be utilizing everything that we have. And especially, here we go. Let me go to day 2, for example. For someone who might not be plugged into eXp World and all of the tools that are in there, or if they're not set up on marketing materials yet or anything like that, it definitely is a great resource, even for an active agent, to give themselves a refresher to make sure that they're plugged into their, you know, resources that are provided to them.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask
Thank
a
you,
really
guys.
quick question? Sorry, this is Violeta.
No worries.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
This is amazing. I actually use the onboarding checklist, but I had not seen this version where it breaks it down by day and the actual time that each section is going to take. I have not seen this. This is really, really awesome. Thank you. So I do have a question. You did mention that it is overwhelming. There's a lot of emails. There's everything coming at you at once, right? When
Yeah.
you're not used to having that as either a team or an individual agent. So what do you recommend? Is there anything that you recommend to not make it so, overwhelming? I know for me, like I have workplace and that's overwhelming. So I need to change those settings. So is that part of what's overwhelming, or what information do you think is overwhelming? And is there any tips to avoid that?
When I say overwhelming, I say it for the email portion when you first get
Yeah.
activated. One of the best practices that an agent can do as soon as they become active or at the time period of just submitting their join application is creating an eXp dedicated folder in your email and making sure that you funnel all of your emails into there so you don't miss anything important. Because essentially once you're activated and you get your tool set up, it's not overwhelming. It's just the initial introduction to all of the systems being sent activation codes, your passport, your SkySlope access, and making sure you set up your tools. So one thing that can be very helpful is just setting up a folder in your email and making sure that you reroute any EXP emails into that folder so you don't miss anything. You can also mark anything unread if you're not able to get to it at that time and make sure that you flag it to come back to it. So the US Agent Center, and I can definitely do a quick tutorial on that really quick. So we're under the agent onboarding right here on the US Agent Center. We're under residential, under realty. And then we have the onboarding process first. So this is broken up by once you submit your application, it has the link directly to join application. It also has a walkthrough video. And these are the steps that I outlined on the presentation of license verification on to becoming an active agent. Once you become an active agent, which is where that checklist is right here, that it really shows you step by step how to set up your tools and systems. So it's broken down and streamlined for the agent, what to expect when they do submit their joint application and the steps to move through that. The agents are also provided in their joint application once they submit it. They're provided a personal code. So the personal code allows them to be able to check where they're at in the status of their onboarding experience. And it tells them if they're held up, maybe they need a W-9 revision or anything like that. And it definitely walks them through that step. Okay, so this is a super helpful tool, just the US Agent Center and rerouting agents once they are filling out their joint applications to understand the step of the onboarding process and what to expect in the coming next steps as well.
Thank you, Gabby.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward. If we have any other questions in regards to onboarding, we'll go ahead and discuss that during the Q&A. Perfect. All right, so navigating onboarding emails. So as we just discussed, creating a folder is a super great tool in order for you to funnel all of your communication that you get off the bat. This is a snapshot of once an agent is activated, what they receive automatically once they're activated. So they get an email from the Enrolled in Go curriculum if they're a part of the mentor program. So that's only applicable if they are part of the mentor program. They get invited to Workplace. They get their officially congratulations email from our expert care team with their passport information. They get an email from SkySlope to get that set up. And then depending on the state, they'll get a call from expert care or they'll get a reach out from our onboarding desk. I'm going to touch on this briefly for the onboarding desk because this is something that's super exciting that we're going to be rolling out in onboarding operations. But essentially it's available in our largest states right now, onboarding desk, Florida, California, and Texas, and it's going to be coming to other states as well soon. But when an agent is activated with EXP, they'll get a call from a dedicated individual that is going to be referenced as their onboarding buddy to really help them and set up their tools. So they can schedule a group session to go through and have someone virtually to sit with them and set up their tools, which is super great because everyone loves a great hands-on experience. I love a hands-on experience. I love a visual, like Veronica just said. So really having that individual as a sense of like peace when you're onboarded, how do I get started? How do I go from here? Having that centralized person to really help with that and be knowledgeable on how to set up your tools is awesome. So that's something that we're rolling out. Texas, California, and Florida, this is now available in, and you can also schedule team sessions as well. So I will definitely get that information for Veronica as well and provide that to you guys. And what are the next states it's coming to? Eventually, our goal is to be in all 50 states, but it's something that's newer over the past couple of months. And the feedback that we've been getting has been amazing thus far. So this is just a snapshot of navigating the email. So as you can see, we get 4 to 5 just as they're onboarded, and they get a lot more too if they don't shut off their notifications in Workplace. Okay. All right, so new and existing teams. So a lot of you on this call have teams, and I'm sure you recognize my face. As I've been with EXP, I actually started in Florida. Veronica was one of the first teams that I've worked on when I was over in onboarding, and I started in the onboarding process, moved over to teams, and now developing team services as a whole. We love focusing on our existing teams with EXP. So if you're looking to form a team or adjust your current team structure, our team services analysts are the individuals to help with that. We have a link right here when we send you guys the slide deck that you can reach out to team services. there is a form that you can fill out if you just want to get in contact with someone, and they will schedule a discovery call with you. Our goal during that discovery call is to really understand your business plan as a team leader and really figure out what's going to be the best structure for you. As Veronica said, all of our team structures are awesome. No, there's no right one for one particular person. It all depends on what your goals are as a team leader, and what your business plan essentially is. So we have something for everyone. And each structure also has a lot of flexibility within them, as to, what opportunities and how you want to structure your team. So during that discovery call, that's going to be our main goal. And then at that point in time, we obviously review the structures of what is available at that time to that team leader. We provide required documentation, and we get that from you as the team leader. Some of our team structures have proof of production that's needed. And then our team services analyst will be that go-to person during your formation of your team. They will also be the go-to person if you have any structure changes in the future or any changes to your business, and they will be the person to help you with that. And then we also have our team services support analysts, and they are the person behind the scenes working to maintain your team roster, and all the agents' pay plans and their team documents. So the self-organized team, standard, mega, and domestic are the 4 team structures we currently have. And that's over Realty right now. Oops, got a little click happy. All right, so team leader resources. Let me make sure I didn't. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the team leader resources right now, these are super important if you have an existing team or if you're looking to form a team here in the future. The first one I want to touch on is a sample external team agreement. So all team leaders, something that is super important that you should definitely look into is having an external agreement in place with you as a team leader and the agents on your team. And the reason for that is our team agreements within EXP, they are addendums to the ICA, but they are essentially just to recognize that the agent is on the team. The external team agreement I like to look at is essentially a document to provide transparency as to what that relationship includes while the agent is on the team for the time period that they are on the team, and what should be expected if the agent were ever to leave the team. That way that there's full transparency during the entire time of that relationship. And there's no confusion if the agent were ever to leave the team. So that's super important. The sample external team agreement was requested actually by you guys, and that was put together by our brokerage operations team. And it's a sample that you guys can look at and put together and make your own. And then you guys can submit them for review for conditional approval, and we actually will add them to the agent's files and just use them as a reference point. But since it's an external document, we don't necessarily enforce them. We just look at them as a reference point, as it's a relationship agreement between you and that party. Okay. My EXP team dashboard, I'm really excited for all of the changes that are coming with this. So in your My EXP app, as a team leader right now, at the beginning of this quarter, they had released the team dashboard where you're able to look at your production, your top agents, you're able to filter specifically by timeline to look at how many units and volume closed during that time, how much production under one specific agent. And we have a lot of upcoming improvements to the My EXP team dashboard. So I'm excited about that, but that is a resource available now to you guys. I'm going to go ahead and click this real quick just to show you there is a graphic attached to this to show you how to utilize the My Team dashboard, what's included in it, what it tailors to, and how you can utilize those advanced filters to really look at specific time views during the time period that you're trying to understand what the performance was and really break that down by month or week as a team leader. Okay. The Team Mastery series. So I'm so excited. I know you guys recently had our Brian on your recent Gap Mastermind, right, Veronica? So he recently, his department, Learning and Development, released Team Mastery Series. So this is something that's going to be so awesome for team leaders, for you all to attend. Right now, they said the best contact to reach out to if you do want to attend a Mastery Series is EXP University at exprealty.net. So it is really just a strategy call to really, as a team leader, pick the brain and really understand the best way to apply to how to grow your team, or just how to apply any awesome tools to really grow your team as a whole and really get the perspective of other team leaders at EXP. So that's what that series is. It's a new series that was released this quarter. So if you are interested in attending any of that, you're going to want to reach out to the EXP University email that's linked there. All right. Jumping into leveraging EXP's resources, I linked two of our great frames, Infosphere and our Explorer room. So these two rooms that I've linked are essentially an all-inclusive, all and be all of resources, onboarding to Revenos to the luxury department. It really has everything in one-stop shop for you as a team leader, or to have your agents on your team really get plugged in and go learn, especially if they're a new agent and not understanding where to start, what they want to focus on. And it has a bunch of information in those, and they're great. The other, let me see here. Oops. The Explorer room was developed by our agent success department. So our VP of agent success, Susan McLean, she developed the Explorer room as a resource to team leaders, anyone who's attracting, someone that's exploring EXP. You can get a guest pass and have someone jump into the Explorer room and take a peek as to what EXP has to offer. The Infosphere is just a centralized hub that our expert care team services, and it has a bunch of information in it. I mentioned agent success, so I want to go back to that really quick. Susan McLean is our VP of agent success. So they are here as a resource to you guys. If you have anybody that is having trouble getting plugged into the EXP resources or tools. So I want to make sure that we mention her and her team. For the east side, our agent relations manager is Emily Helton, and for the west side, it's Ramon. So they are amazing, and they've really been helping getting agents on the right path if they are having trouble plugging into our tools. So I just want to throw that out there as well. And the last thing that this is something that's really exciting, and this is coming as one of our projects, is the blended average. So understanding blended average, this applies to our standard and mega team structures. So with currently team structures for standard and mega, there was a 25% minimum on each and every transaction for the team leader to take as a split for those that were on reduced caps. The blended average essentially will apply for all reduced cap agents on teams to allow the team leader to have more flexibility and more control as to what splits they're taking, as long as they're averaging out at least a 25% overall across the team. So this is based on unit count. So for example, if I am closing a 50-50 split and Veronica's on the team closing a 90-10, and she's doing a higher volume of 90-10, it's really going to offset that average if I am on a 50-50 split and not closing as many deals. So you would want to contribute that and make sure that you factor that in when you're looking at staying at the 25% average as a whole. So I went ahead and put the verbiage there as to what and how to describe the blended average. And that is something that is going to be in our new team policy that's coming up. And I'm so excited about that towards the end of this quarter into the next quarter.
So can, Gabby, I think it's important that we emphasize a little bit more on this in very simple terms for those of you who are running a team that is a reduced cap. A lot of people are confused with what this means. It's very simple. You might have an agent, let's say they've been on your team for a long time, tenured, or let's just say they have a really good, strong book of business, but they want to be on your team for whatever reason it might be. You have market share, you have lead sources, something that you guys agree on. And you put that agent on a higher than 75% split. Right. So let's say that they're on a 90-10, like she just said, but you close enough, they close enough business with you on the team side where, let's say, your company gen or your team generated business is at a 50-50, you know, like I'm happy to share our blend. We're actually looking at some of our blended rates, a commission, but let's say the overall, is it the overall team blend or is it the overall person blend, Gabby?
It's the overall team blend, and that's so important, Veronica. And the reason for that is it allows the team leader flexibility to really have different as you said, different flexibilities and things to offer if they have a more tenured agent on the team to really offset what they're taking as far as the rest of the team as a whole. The people that are not included in the blended average are those that are on full caps. So the other thing that I really like to point out is for those that are on reduced caps is where the blended average we really pull from as to what the split is that the team leader is taking on transactions for those with reduced cap. But if you have someone on your team that is on a full cap of $16,000, they don't contribute or offset that. So for example, if you have someone who's more tenured, let's say I was on Veronica's team, but I'm a more tenured agent and she necessarily, didn't want to have me on the team and she wanted to have me on the team still, but she necessarily did not want to take a split from me because I'm operating and not really using her resources that she would provide me as a team. But I still wanted to be on the team for the camaraderie and the overall atmosphere of the team. You have the option to put agents on a full cap, which allows you flexibility to not impact your average, but you could put them on a lower split. So it's really up to your decision as a team leader. But overall, those agents that are reduced cap, it's a 25% average as a team. So it's not individually 25% average. It's what you as a team leader are taking for a split on average of at least 25% or more for reduced cap agents.
And I think it's such a cool thing because if we look at the reality of a team, right? Agents, once they hit a certain threshold, we obviously want to focus on profitability for the team leaders because ultimately that's important, guys. Nobody wants you to run a team and if it's not profitable. But you might run into those situations where, like she said, someone might want to join your team for other reasons and it's not lead sources, maybe it's mentorship, community, other things. And I have a rule on my team. I'm building out a new team model where it's called the brand builder. These people must bring in 24 of their own sphere deals a year. And then we're bridging the gap to get them to like that 40 transaction at 50, right? Helping them. But these people are already tenured. And we came up with a model where it's a nice blend and we're just exploring all these different ways of building a team to where it makes sense. And we used to think, oh no, I have to charge this amount. When if you look at this blended new formula, it really allows you to have flexibility on your team, which I think is super cool, while still offering a reduced cap.
100% is cool because as you said, the team leader, more importantly, like you are mentioning, you want to make sure you're compensating yourself, right? 100%. But additionally to that, it gives you this flexibility to really build your team how you want. You just mentioned, Veronica, how you're building something new within your team. I like to look at it almost like an a la carte menu. You have the option to be on this cap. You have the option to be on this cap. And with that comes different options, but it really gives you flexibility as the team leader to build your business how you want, which is so, so cool. I'm really glad that we're going to be rolling this out. It is currently something that was being trialed with mega team structures, and it's going to be in our new team policy overall, and I'm so excited. So if you as a team leader, standard or mega, because these are the only ones really because of the reduced caps that it would apply to, you are definitely 100% ready to implement that now, because we want to overall have you have flexibility. So I'm so excited about it.
And Eli mentioned he wants a little bit more understanding on this, not to stay too much on this because we will have a Q&A, but Eli, just super high level. Let's just say you joined my team. You're a badass. You're like, Beto, I want to be on your team, but I run a pretty, I'm not a problem child. You don't have to walk me from A to Z. You don't have to feed my business, but I get to tap into your lead sources when I'm running a little dry. This is just an example. And I'm like, Eli, man, what you would do for my team. I love you. I think you're great. Let's work out a really sexy 90-10, right? For you. You get the reduced cap. And then anything that I give you on Team Jen, let's just say I got a badass listing that you're my Oviedo guy. So anything that comes in, as long as you agree that anything that Mama Bear gives you, it's at this split. But whatever you bring in, because, whatever, you're walking in with a nice book of business, tenured business, I'm good with the 90-10, right? Let's just say that's the hypothetical model that I put together. The blended of what you do. But let's just say I never give you a team lead, or even because you're a closer, I give you even a better split on that team generated business. But then I got, let's say, Pepe Le Pew over here, who has never closed a deal. He's going to come on my beginners farm team, right? Where anyways, I got to teach him how to write a contract. I got to give him leads. I got to build his database. I got to help him, right? He's on a 50-50, and any company gen listings is a 70-30, 30 to the agent, 70 to the house, because we're walking him A to Z. The blended of that community split is what she's saying the company has to get a minimum 25% blended. I'm not sure where that number would fall. Right now, our team, I know for a fact, we're a 38% company retained dollar for team between our blended right now. So we're safe. Like I could literally offer a couple people up to, let's just say 95.5, and it would be okay because we have such a good blended rate. Does that make sense? A little bit? Okay.
And
Yes,
I'm happy
by company,
to.
I mean big team, my organization, my team inside. Since this is team services, I'm referring to your company as a team.
Perfect. And
Gabby,
Eli,
did I explain that right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think the best way to look at it is blended average only applies to those that have reduction in caps. And reduction in cap is essentially if the agent is receiving that reduced cap, they're receiving a reduced cap in company dollar. So we want to make sure that the team leader as a whole is paying themselves that on the back end. And we want to make sure as a whole that you are taking at least an average of 25%. So I'm happy to discuss Eli with you on the back end a little bit more. On all the options if you're interested in talking about that a little bit further, and anybody who is a team leader on the team to understand it a little bit further. And if you want to know where you're at as a team for your blended average, happy to pull that for you as well.
And just to piggyback off of this, because I know where a lot of this originated from, is guys, what we're trying to avoid is people misusing and abusing the reduced cap, forming these gangs that aren't real teams, quasi coming together, manipulating the system, and then getting a bunch of agents, poaching agents from full caps onto a reduced cap to write a check on the back end. Like, we really want teams to be honored and to be set up properly like a real entity, because it is a privilege to have, you know, the infrastructure, the support. So this stemmed from a lot of reasons, and it was teams like me and other real legit teams that were like, there's some bad apples who are promoting the reduced cap, but they're not really running a team. They're turning around and then also writing a check on the back end, which really they crack down on that. We want to run a business that has integrity, and that we're operating with the same playbook. But we also knew we needed to have some flexibility for those who maybe were growing their business and didn't want to leave the team, but wanted to take advantage of the team benefits. So what I love is that EXP listened and created a world where we can all run a real, a real team, but also have the flexibility when we have a rock star that we don't want to lose, but we want to incentivize them. Is that true,
Yeah,
Gabby?
I love that 100%. That's the best way to look at it, is incentivizing them. You have the option to include them within your blended average and offset that on a different area, or you have the option of putting them on a full cap, just taking, if anything, you don't even have to take a split if you don't want to for an agent on a full cap. So you really have all these options. You can put them on a lower split, just offset it in a different area of your team with a higher split, and making sure as a whole, the percentage of transactions that are being closed, that you're taking an average of 25% or more for those reduced cap agents. Just to clarify, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say that I know this can feel like the Cheesecake Factory, that we got a whole lot of stuff on the menu, but just focus on what applies to you, okay? Because I know I go to the Cheesecake Factory, I'm overwhelmed, but I just go to the section that I like, and I just take what I want. So you don't have to learn all of this, just take what applies to you.
Yes, I love that. Just mine's the red velvet cheesecake, so that's the one that I'm picking. But Eli, he asked a really important question that I wanted to clarify. He asked if this applies to global. So not at this time. I'm referring to only US Realty. So this is just for teams within the US that I'm referring to at this time.
Don't worry, Maria. I am pushing for that. Trust me. I saw your thumb and I got you, girl. I'm the biggest whistleblower over here. So I will continue to fight. And I still believe Puerto Rico should not be included in that bulk. But as far as global, but we'll talk about that. Gabby, I'm the biggest advocate for Puerto Rico to be able to do the business the same way we do it here.
Listen, I 100% Felix Bravo. I'm sure he is on it and looking at all the expansion and opportunities in all the areas of global. But I 100% agree with you guys. That's so awesome. All right. Can you guys still see my screen, or do I just need to reshare it?
You have to reshare it.
Okay, let me know when you can see again.
We can see it.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much. And like I said, I'm happy to, as a whole, if you are a team leader currently, I'm happy to get a report pulled of what your current average is. This is one of the features that is going to, I could actually go to the next screen. This is one of the features that's going to be included in our hopefully upcoming improvements to the My EXP dashboard. It will be available for your blended average within your dashboard here shortly. It's one of the improvements that we're hoping for. But it currently, if you're looking as a team leader to understand what your blended average is and have a conversation about that, I'm happy to get with you offline and look at that a little further. So going into our upcoming projects, so we are going to consistently update our Team Services US Agent Center section. As I was showing you guys earlier, that onboarding checklist that is super in-depth that shows you each resource that's available to the agents when they first onboard, the steps in onboarding. Team Services has a section on there as well, and we hope to develop that a little bit further for attraction purposes for you all, as well as existing teams to understand a little bit more in depth the ins and outs, and really filter and only show you what you need to see. I know Veronica just mentioned this is a lot of information, so our goal is really to break down and get super granular as to what you need to see and make it streamlined within the US Agent Center for you all. So that's one of our projects that we're working on. Improve team resources kind of goes hand in hand with that, listening to you all as team leaders and really streamlining where to access the information for teams. And then from there, we're also working on something that you guys have given us feedback is improving of team documents. So that's something that we're working on to hopefully come in the following months. And then expand My EXP Teams dashboard. So getting super specific and looking at breaking out specifically, hopefully putting your roster in there and getting super streamlined and accessing your information as a team leader in one centralized place. So that is what we are working towards right now for My EXP. And then something I'm so excited for, and we're super early stages, is commercial and groups coming. So I will be super brief on this just because we don't have a lot of information at this time, but it's something that is coming and I'm so excited. So within Realty, we have teams in the US. Something that will be coming in the US is groups. So they're just look at groups equivalent to teams. They're going to be called groups. So something that will be coming is groups. And our first step with that is going to be domestic partnerships, and then almost like a self-organized group. And then it will become a business decision. I know Sean Murphy, our Senior Vice President of Commercial, is working super hard on looking at different factors of what group types there will be. So that's something that he's working on in the back end. And then hopefully down the line, we'll be implementing a cross brokerage piece. And I'm so excited for that, so that you all in Realty can collaborate with those in commercial as you can now if you have external agreements, but it's something that we're trying to implement on the front end as well. So that is it for upcoming projects. Here is our contact information. So our US Agent Center is linked. We have our email. That is our main point of contact. And then we have the world. We do have a frame that is agent facing. At any point in time, someone can jump in if they have questions. And then our teams at EXP Workplace Group. If you're not a part of that, if you're a team leader or an agent on a team, we post our team updates. Zoe and I, as well as Nicole Alderson, our director, will post any updates as for teams to be aware of. And you as team leaders can also post in there. So this is our contact information. And then I want to just go ahead and open it up for Q&A. I know Alicia is going to come back on and we're going to ask a couple questions. I'm so excited.
Well, thank you, Gabby. I mean, this is such good information. Also, everyone, if it seems confusing, don't worry. Not everybody has a big team like Veronica. So keep it simple a lot of times. But I love the fact that as you grow, that you guys have opened it up to being very creative on how to grow your team. So I appreciate EXP so much for that. I want to open it up to any questions that anybody might have. Anybody got any questions right now that you want to pop up into the chat? You guys did such a great job. Look, there's nobody popping up here. I like the fact that you have these now. Again, going back to some of the services, they can contact you at any time. And the easiest way to contact you is what way? What would you say is the simplest?
The easiest way to get in contact as a whole would be teamservices@exprealty.net, sending an email there, and our team services support analyst will filter that out. And we have a dedicated person for each state and region that we have. And depending on if you're looking to form a team, if you're looking to make changes to your existing team, if you're attracting a team, we have someone in place for each step of that you're really looking to plug into. So as Veronica said, Cheesecake Factory, it could be very, very overwhelming. The biggest thing is just knowing that we have someone in place at any point in time for what you're looking to do. And we're here to support you in that transition.
Great. Also, I just saw that somebody sent a question, and I'm sorry I cannot pull up my chat for some reason. So if you'll ask the question again, or Veronica, can you see it?
We have two questions that I can see here is where do we find the sample team agreement? And I do believe where are these resources provided? And Gabby just posted the link. She sent it to me. I'm gonna go ahead and post it here, and then we will also send it through community. We'll post it in our private, we'll post it also in our private page. And if anybody doesn't get it, then obviously hit me up on Workplace and we'll get it to you.
Wow, this was such good information, guys. Remember that you can always go and send this or direct someone to the YouTube page so that you can go to YouTube replay at Global Alliance University. So just go to Global Alliance University. You got all the classes from everywhere. I think that is so helpful. So if you're looking for someone to recruit in, I think this is such helpful information. I remember when I started, I was a little bit lost, and it just gets better and better. And I noticed the difference between the first person I recruited and the last person. You guys are doing a fantastic job because she seemed to be okay. She reached out to you a lot. You answered all her questions. So I'm very appreciative of how easy you're making that transition. I do have a quick question as well. I am having more trouble now with agents because I'm recruiting agents who are doing production. I'm really focused on that. So if they're in the middle of doing production, like putting something under contract, what is the transition again from the time that they can, they have a potential buyer, they're ready to move, they can't slow down. Is it a 2-day leeway what do we do with them?
Are just for clarity, are you referring to they're an active agent with EXP or you're attracting them from external within?
We're attracting them from external, but they're more active now so that they have a pipeline and there's no stopping point. Like I have a client, they want to make an offer. I'm not switching over fast enough. I did realize that y'all made an exception for one of mine that just came over and she reached out to you guys. So is that something they would just reach out to team services?
Something that you'll want to look at for sure is depending on the state and getting the state broker involved specifically to see if there's any state rules is what our team services individual will do. So the most important thing is if you're transitioning someone, if it's an individual agent, if it's not necessarily a team, you'll want to reach out to your state broker team or bringing it up to the onboarding analyst that's helping that individual. If it's team related or a brokerage transitioning, it's something that you're going to want to bring up during that pre-onboarding stage of this is important to me to not slow down my business and making sure that they express that so we can really navigate that portion of it to really figure out, okay, is there something staying behind? Are we doing any pass-throughs? What is the situation so we can really outline that and make sure that it is a key point that we touch on.
Right. So I know we're out of time. We're right there at the moment. So if anybody has further questions, can they reach out to you direct at Team Services?
100%. So if you have general team questions, you can reach out to teamservices@exprealty.net. If you have questions on the specific presentation today, I am available via workplace chat. And my name is Gabrielle Confessore on there. Let me go ahead and drop it in the chat box. There you go. So I know my screen name says Gabby, but my full name is Gabrielle. So you can search me on Workplace Chat if you have questions on the specific presentation, and general questions about Teams would go to teamservices@exprealty.net.
Well, Gabby, thank you so much. I do want to remind everyone that we still have tickets left for Build at Sea. I will be there. I'm actually speaking. I'm super excited. I hope to see all of you there. Last time I went, it was fantastic. So thank you, Gabby. Remember, sign up for Build at Sea. And Veronica mentioned before, and I didn't know this, that you have a payment plan. So, Veronica, amazing. I don't know how you worked out that deal, but like you just figured it all out. There's no excuses. No
It
excuses.
wasn't me,
Everybody
it's
here.
teamwork. It's teamwork. It definitely
It-
wasn't me, but everyone who's working on this wanted to find ways to make it affordable, wanted to make sure no one had a reason that they couldn't get there, understanding in the light of where we're at when it comes to running our businesses, sometimes stretching some things out like payments is the best way to go about it. So we just don't want you to miss it. So hopefully you guys
Yeah,
all
and the link
there's
is
only
below.
15
It's
tickets
attached. Yeah, roommates if you need to do roomies. So thank you, everyone. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Thanks, Gabby. You're the best.
Thank you. Thank you,
Veronica, always a
Veronica. Appreciate you
pleasure.
guys. Have a great day.
Great job,
Bye.
Gabby. Bye-bye.
Bye.